Good morning. I hope you can hear me and see me. It's always a question. Hi, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, and I like to talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds since starting a ketogenic diet and how you might be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life. Thanks, it's a rainy Saturday here. It's rather dark outside. It's been raining for over a week, I think, maybe, and it's supposed to keep on raining, so what you gonna do? It's raining. It was dry before. Hey, listen, I want to talk to you guys about Low Carb USA in San Diego, from which I returned this week. It was awesome. I want to give a shout out to Pam Devine and Doug Reynolds. I've attended all of the Low Carb USA conferences in San Diego, and this, in my opinion, was by far the best. It was just great. So, tip of the hat to Pam and Doug. So, I'm going to cut right to the chase. Here was a big takeaway for me. And excuse me, I forgot to do this. I'm going to share this with other peoples. So excuse me while I do this. You know, I really would get my assistant to do this, but I don't have one. Post. And so, excuse me. The big takeaway for me was it really is pretty much as straightforward as keep your carbs reduced to a level where your liver is not producing glucose for fuel, your body starts burning ketones for fuel, don't eat if you're not hungry, and stop when you're satiated. You know, it really kind of does come down to that. Now, that's not to say there was not a lot of great information and stuff that I learned. Certainly, I have a lot to learn. Another big takeaway. I'm going to, someone call me baby cakes. I'm going to say this as directly and in terms that I understand it as well as possible. Forget about cholesterol. I mean, overall, kind of in general. You might be freaked. Your family might be freaked. Your doctor might be freaked out that your cholesterol is going to go up. Guess what? The overall cholesterol number doesn't mean much. Keto cuckoo is late. The overall number is essentially meaningless. The LDL is a close second in meaninglessness, the so-called bad cholesterol. Guess what? There are two types of LDL, at least two major types, and one is benign and beneficial, the big fluffies, and the little stickies are the ones you don't want. The better thing to be looking at, if you're going to look at these numbers, are triglycerides, which you want as low as possible, and HDL, the so-called good cholesterol, as high as possible. But from my understanding, because when HDL goes up, triglycerides go down, and vice versa, you pretty much just need to look at your HDL. Because if you get that going up, your triglycerides will come down. Now, keep in mind, this does not happen in a week, a month, even 6 months, maybe not even in a year, to get those triglycerides down. And they can even go up in the first months, because as you start to mobilize fat for fuel, burning ketones for fuel, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in those fat cells, not just fat. There's other things, including, as in every cell in the body, there's cholesterol in every cell in the body. If we eliminated all the cholesterol from our system, we would fall into a puddle in 1 minute or less. So anyway, as though the fat is mobilized, you can have more triglycerides in your blood. So don't freak out. That is a major takeaway. Several presenters talked about cholesterol, and let's just please quit. Let's quit with the overall number. Let's relax about the cholesterol. And guess what? Why are doctors so focused on the cholesterol? Well, for one thing, because they've been sold a bill of goods. For another thing, it's an easy thing to test. For another thing, if you have elevated LDL, they can prescribe something for it. And so they feel like they're doing their job, or they don't know any better. And not, keep in mind, not all medical providers are like this. Some are quite knowledgeable. So you want to find the ones that are knowledgeable. So why don't they look at HDL if that's so important? Well, they do look at it, but guess what they can't do is prescribe anything to improve it. There's no medication that will improve HDL, which is what you want. If you're a guy, you want your HDL to be about 40 milligrams per deciliter, or however they measure it. You want the number to be 40 or higher. If you're all female, you want that number to be 50 or higher. Mine is 98. I'm going to live forever. You want your triglycerides, ideally, to not be more than double the number of your HDL. So to keep it simple, if your HDL is 50, you want your triglycerides to be no higher than 100. But really you want it as close to 1 to 1, not 2 to 1 as possible. Or better, you want your HDL to be higher than your triglycerides if you can. And there's no medication that will do that. So what's a doctor to do? If they focused on it, then they say, well, I'm sorry, there's not a medication I can give you. But guess what you can do? You can reduce your carbs to a point where your liver's not putting out glucose for fuel, and you start burning fat for fuel, and that will bring down triglycerides and raise HDL. How about that? It's like magic. So anyway, those are two big takeaways. Another thing, a very interesting presentation by Nasha Winters, a field of chronobiology, which is following your circadian rhythms as our bodies have done for millennia. And this is a fairly easy fix for many people. Some of us, our lives make it more challenging to get a full night's sleep, to sleep when it's dark. Some of us are shift workers. Some of us have varying schedules. So sometimes you're working 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. and sometimes you're working 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. But to the extent you're able, try to turn off the blue screens at night, shut down the computer, turn off the tablet, read an actual book rather than an e-reader, put away your phone, or at least put an app on those devices that will minimize that blue light. And you can get this. I think one is called Lux, L-U-X-E. And it's pretty interesting. At natural dusk, it just starts toning down the light on your devices. Several presenters talked in different fields, talked about the importance of restorative sleep. So try to get some sleep. I know it's hard. Very hard sometimes, but it's very important. And even if you wake up in the middle of the night, try to relax and not fret that you're awake. Just try to take the opportunity to just relax. I wear, it's not the sexiest thing ever, but I wear an eye mask when I'm ready to go to actual sleep. And I have a room dark, it's really thick. It's like beaded and it's weighted. And it really cuts out the light. And I think it helps. I will tell you another thing. One of the very first things that people share with me when they start a well-formulated ketogenic diet, even before they've lost too much weight, sometimes their acid reflux that they can get at night and their sleep apnea dissipates. Now that's huge in itself. Sleep apnea, so disruptive. If you don't know what that is, you're sleeping and some people can essentially wake up about every minute. Maybe not fully awake, but they kind of, they're snoring or schnortling or something, and it disrupts their sleep. So many people find that their sleep apnea dissipates. And I know that I can sleep better simply because mechanically I can sleep better. I'm not, for those of you who don't know, I was perfectly round. And when you're perfectly round, it's very difficult to find a comfortable position to sleep no matter what. Now I sleep. All right, so those were big takeaways. Keep your carbs. Now, like standardized thing is 20 grams total, not net, of grams per day or fewer. Some people can tolerate more carbs, so find your level. But that level can also change, keep in mind. Depending on your age, your gender, your body composition, your activity level. Oh, here's another big takeaway. I'm sorry, it's actually probably the big one. You know, everyone is so focused on cholesterol and blood sugar. Blood sugar is important because you want to keep that in check. But blood sugar, elevated blood sugar, is really just a marker for the actual problem, which is too much insulin, because you've become insulin resistant. Your insulin has a job. Has several jobs. Drive blood sugar out of your blood and into the cells for storage for later. It burns off a little bit, then stores the rest in the form of fat for later. And then it has other jobs. But over time, and sometimes this happens with some people earlier in life rather than later. For me, it happened earlier. Your body, you just become insulin resistant, like a drug addict who needs a bigger and bigger dose to get the same high. Well, your body needs a bigger and bigger dose of insulin to do the same job, and eventually just says, screw it. Hey, Lynn. Hey, Lynn, are you coming to the meetup? I'll talk about that in a second. So that really is the deal. Insulin. High insulin is the problem. Blood glucose elevation is the symptom. Keeping your carbs low is the solution. It's very basic. It's very complicated, actually. You know, I really like learning how all of this works. I'm interested in the science. And many people are. Many lay people are. But you don't have to know how it works. I don't know how the remote control on my TV works. And I certainly don't know how Hulu gets into my television. I'm just glad it does. I don't need to know how the remote control works. I need to know which button to push. In this case, if you don't want to know how all of this works physiologically, don't sweat it. Just know that the buttons you need to push are keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer a day. That's total, not net, and that means you can go very low carb if you like. Eat fatty sources of protein. What does that mean? It means eat meat with the fat. Poultry, seafood, pork, lamb, alligator, buffalo, beef with the fat. Don't buy the most expensive, leanest cuts. Buy the cheapest, fattiest cuts. It's great. Don't worry about percentages. That really was not an issue either. I mean, it's just not. You don't have to. Do if you want to, but you don't have to. And don't eat if you're not hungry. Some of us need to learn what that means. And stop when you're satiated, not when you're stuffed. So, it was a great conference. I'm going to share that personally for me, the highlight and something I wanted to do, and it didn't happen until the conference was over. On Sunday night, I got to hang with Dr. Georgia Ede. I mean, like hang, the two of us sitting, talking. She was drinking iced tea. I was drinking a glass of Chardonnay. And we chatted and talked. She's fabulous, she's funny, she's smart, she's a psychiatrist, and her presentation was probably my favorite. Just fantastic. I may go to the San Francisco conference in November. I'm debating that because this all is fast. It's so encouraging. And let me tell you, I don't know what percentage of the attendees were medical providers, but it was a big percentage. So, and because this conference provided medical continuing education, so the providers could go and get CE credit. So they went. So that's very encouraging, that more and more medical providers are hearing the information, and that's what's so encouraging. One of the presenters is a cardiologist who's totally on board. Imagine that. Totally on board. Another very interesting presentation by Robert Seides. He's from South Africa, now practicing in Florida, I believe. Very interesting. A practitioner who's living this every day. So just know that the science that is out there continues to reinforce that this is not only not going to kill you, it is not dangerous, it is not going to put you at risk, it is actually helping so many people. Wonderful presentation that made me cry by Miriam Kalamian. Very personal story of her son, Rafi, who was diagnosed with to this day, always deadly brain tumor. Unfortunately, one of my brothers passed of the same thing, a glioblastoma, astrocytoma multiforme. It's just always a bad brain tumor. And her personal approach to at least help him, it was not going to cure him at this point, but to help him, and he got much of his life back before his life ended. Very touching story. So just know that you can have faith in this. When people say this is going to raise your cholesterol, you can say, well, if it's raising my HDL cholesterol, yippee. And the rest I'm not too worried about. If they say you're going to get a heart attack, I say, no, not from this. Might be from other things. But this can actually, I mean, here are if you have 3 out of 5 situations, 3 out of 5, you're considered to have, be it metabolic conditions, you're considered to be at increased risk for a cardiovascular event. I'm going to say 3 out of 5, any 3 out of 5. Large waist circumference, high triglycerides, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, and low HDL. If you have any 3 of those 5, guess what it doesn't talk about? BMI. Guess what it doesn't mention? Overall cholesterol. Guess what it doesn't say anything about? LDL. Guess what? You could have 4 out of 5, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, high triglycerides, and low HDL, and have a skinny little waist. You could be a skinny mini and be at very high risk of a cardiovascular event. So the idea that thinness immunizes you against cardiovascular is simply untrue. So there's a lot more. My brain, I came home feeling like I'd been punched in my brain. It was bruised, but it was great. So continue to keep the faith and continue to do what you're doing. Really, really keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer a day. Eat fatty sources of protein. Don't eat if you're not hungry. And then get on with your life. I'm going to take 30 seconds to talk about a couple of things. The Go Keto with Casey, the cruise. Please see my blog for contact information. We have a nice group forming. That's going to be fun. That's in March of 2019. There is a meetup Monday the 13th here in Greensboro at Wine Styles at Friendly Center. There's nothing to buy. There's no sales pitch. It is really just a support meeting. You don't even have to buy wine, although it's half price wine by the glass. That's Monday the 13th, 5:30 to 7. And the Go Keto with Casey Portland Roadshow event. You can register for that. That'll be in September. I'm speaking at an Adapt Your Life event in September with Dr. Eric Westman, Dr. Wickham Simons, Christy Honeycutt Sullivan, and Amy Berger. I'm honored beyond belief to be included in that lineup. That'll be September 22nd. Go to Adapt Your Life to see about that. Oh, we got some new mugs. I think that's in reverse, but it's Go Keto with Casey. It's a real heavy mug. Those will be going on sale. Patrons get first shot. By the way, thank you to patrons. See some of you here. And patrons make it possible for me to do this. And quick plug for Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/GoKetoWithCasey, contribution levels from $2 get you weekday videos from me, first thing in the morning. going up the ladder, you get some behind the scenes things, you get a discount code for any swag, you get access to live streams, you get video group chats, which I'm having one at noon today, and then all the way up to monthly one-on-ones with me. That's that. Okay, commercial over. Now, I would like to, do I have my glasses? Nope, so let's see if I can do this without my glasses. Let me turn to some Q&A. Ask me anything. I promise to give you an answer, just maybe the answer might be I don't talk about that. Hey, Lita, thank you. She says she loves the snippets. Love the green. You know what? People have commented on this green color. And, of course, it goes with my... Oh, I also have shirts available still. Go Keto with Casey. Thank you to campusmarketing.com, friend of the show, not a sponsor, who provides all of my swag. People love, and they love the shape. And I laugh and say, well, it kind of put me off at the beginning because it's kind of the way I used to be shaped. Susan Roche, or Roche, now I can't. They go by too fast, I'm sorry. Hello from East Tennessee. And Susan was going to write that people tell her the carbs or something, and I can't read it. Let me see if I can read it on my phone. I don't know that I can. Good morning from Central Texas. By the way, I will be in Texas in November and December, late November, early December in San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston on 3 separate occasions to talk to a private group. But I'll let people know where I'm staying, and so if you want to stop by and have a cup of coffee or tea or wine or something, we can say hey. I'll just be staying overnight and speaking midday. My doctor doesn't understand why triglycerides are up to 200 after something. Well, I can't read what. Okay, after a huge weight loss. Tammy, how long have you been on the diet? Because, as I said, it can take months to get those triglycerides down. What are your HDL, by the way? Hello from Canada. I have a lot of patrons from Canada. A lot from British Columbia, and Victoria is a real hotbed. So are the Maritimes. This is the only way of eating where I'm not... I went by too quickly. I cannot read these. Would love to see you in Houston, writes Darylyn Yates. Seriously, me to feel satisfied and no craving. This is the other thing. Listen to your body. Oh, another thing. Unless you have a kidney situation, drink when you're thirsty. I mean, Robert Sives was pretty blunt about it. He said, "Where did this 8 glasses of water a day come?" No, unless you have kidney stones or you have a kidney thing going on, drink when you're thirsty, and don't worry about it. He says if humans required X number of ounces or liters of water a day, wouldn't the people that evolved in the deserts and the plains be screwed? Not much water there. Houston is having low carb. Houston, I'm able to go with a friend and my daughter. Yay! That's fantastic. Word is spreading. Victoria is in British Columbia. I know, I've got people, and we've been to Victoria. It's gorgeous. Okay, I didn't see what Tammy's information was. I am not starving all day. Isn't that the truth? I'm looking to see. Great job, Tammy. There's a heart. And I apologize for not being able to... Oh, hey, Trisha. Choice between Mamma Mia 2 or latest Mission Impossible movie. Have my pepperoni and cheese discreetly packed. That's another thing. With a little bit of planning, this can really be done. You know what wasn't discussed? The food. People didn't get up and talk about the food. Because guess what the food is? The fatty sources of protein. A little bit of dietary fat if you can tolerate it. Like dairy. Not loading back on liquid things. Can I tell you right now? Products that are supposed to help get you into ketosis. If you want to be part of a multi-level marketing empire, go for it. you might get a positive reading on a test that measures beta-hydroxybutyrate or acetoacetate. By the way, none of these devices measure ketones. They measure the byproduct of ketones being used for fuel. So you might get a reading, but why not just dip the stick right into the bottle and get the same reading? Anyway, off my soapbox. Tammy, 3 years, HDL's low. Well, I would say if it's improved, great. I'm not a doctor. And maybe the triglycerides, maybe you're a stubborn case, because this was another thing. We're all different. We're all different. Lita writes, yep, planning and commitment, 17 months keto, I love it. Just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy, but it is doable. And try to avoid telling yourself you can't do something. We've talked about this before. Try not to say, I have no willpower. Okay, why do you think you have no willpower? Because you tell yourself you have no willpower, right? So, try not to tell yourself that. You can say, if it's too big a leap for you to say, I have willpower, which I don't know why it should be. We would tell other people they can do things. But if you need to ease into it and say, I no longer struggle with willpower, start telling yourself nice things about who you are, instead of reminding yourself of things that are not nice about yourself. Let's be nice to ourselves. Okay, I'm going to start to wrap up. I really appreciate you guys listening. I am going to remind you about the cruise, which is in March, the road show in Portland, Oregon, which is in late September, the Adapt Your Life event, which is September 22nd. So the 22nd is the Adapt Your Life in Roxborough, North Carolina. The 28th and 29th is Portland. There will be a wine, cocktail, soda, tea, meet and greet Friday evening. And then there will be the event in Portland at the Lloyd Center. And you can see all that information at my blog. These are both those things you need to register. Can't see the Adapt Your Life on my blog, I don't think. I'm going to ask them if I can put it there. The cruise, yes. And you need to book through Lisa Pennert at Coastline Travel in order for us to get the group perks. And there are many. So we want those. So book through her, not through your own travel agent, if you want to be part of the group and get the perks. Some people have asked about the cruise, if there's anybody looking for a roommate to help share a cabin. We do have a list, so let me know personally or let Lisa, and we'll try to hook you up. Tricia writes, looking forward to drinking wine and talking keto at your next meetup in Greensboro. Great, Tricia, I hope you come. That is fabulous. Yes, August 13th, someone must have asked. It's August 13th. I do them when I can, the second Monday of the month at Wine Styles in Greensboro. And maybe I'll bring some shirts and mugs, I don't know. I'm giving patrons first crack at the mugs. Okay, guys, any questions for me specifically? Cindy writes, most of the people I've seen selling these products have no idea what they really do. They just say, eat what you want, drink the product, and you'll be in ketosis. That's, yeah. I mean, it's almost literally the definition of a snake oil salesman. I have no respect for people who sell these products, truly. I am going to say something about the Keto After 40 with Casey Facebook group. I have not closed the group to new members, but there are about 1,000 some requests for membership. I'm being really selective. I'm the only person. There's no moderators. I'm the only admin. I look at every membership request. You have to answer all 3 questions. If you answer 2 questions, you're declined. If you're selling a product, you're blocked. If you belong to a particularly hateful set of Facebook groups, you're blocked. And I'm just not interested in the group getting too much larger. 40,000 some members is plenty for anybody. And some people be crazy. I just got to say that. Okay, Darlene Yates, Susan Roche, the only measure used is 20 grams of carbs per fewer a day and eat until satisfied. We don't count calories. Ultimately, calories matter because, it's not as easy as a calorie in and a calorie out and burn 3,500 calories and you'll lose a pound. It's not that easy. But ultimately, the reason we eat food is to fuel our bodies. So if you take in more fuel than your body needs, you may not gain weight, but you may not lose weight. You may find what it takes for you to maintain your weight. The thing is, if you start burning fat for fuel, you don't have the triggers of brain hunger. Get me something else. When you're burning glucose for fuel, your brain about every 2 or 3 hours tells you, get me some more, because it's a fast burning fuel. It's running out. So that's why you can eat your supposedly, low-fat, heart-healthy breakfast of steel-cut oats and skim milk and a glass of orange juice, and then 2 hours later you're hungry. Well, the food hasn't even digested yet. But you've burned through the glucose. That's when you start roaming the halls. When you're burning fat for fuel, that signal is not going like that. So your appetite is suppressed. So you naturally consume less food. And guess what? So fewer calories. It's like magic. Do y'all drink black coffee in the morning? I drink coffee with Splenda and 2 teaspoons of heavy cream. I've had 1 cup today. I may not have any more. We don't have our air on. It's really muggy. It's not particularly hot here, but it's really muggy. And I'm about to wilt as it is. But cream is not unlimited. It's limited to 2 tablespoons a day. So if I have 3 cups of coffee with 2 teaspoons of cream, that's 2 tablespoons, and that's it. Same thing with mayonnaise, not unlimited. Sour cream, not unlimited. Cheese, not unlimited. So you can see a copy of the food list I followed at my blog. It's 2 pages because the second page says what to avoid, and the second page also talks about fats. Oil salesman, indeed. So glad to hear we can have Splenda. I'm so excited. Choose the artificial sweetener that you prefer. My husband and I have tried them all. We have found that Splenda is the only one that does not give us an aftertaste. I don't give a crap about maltodextrin. Sorry, just don't. What is Keto Mojo? Hey, I met Dorian, or not met him, I spoke with Dorian, I'd met him before at San Diego. He's coming up with some really innovative devices for the Keto Mojo. It tests glucose and beta hydroxybutyrate, so you can test for blood to see your level of ketosis. By the way, 0.5 and above, you're in ketosis. Sweet spot, according to Drs. Finney and Volek, is still considered about 1.5 to 3, but 0.5 and above, you're good. So, don't perseverate. Why am I only 0.7? You're good. Anyway, he's coming up with some very innovative devices, and I'm going to have, he said I could have some promotional kits to take to the Portland Roadshow event for giveaways. If you want to buy a Keto Mojo kit, now you can go to my blog and get 15% off. It is an affiliate link. I get a little tiny, like a $2 referral fee, but you'll get 15% off. And I only recommend it because I use it and I like it and I prefer it over the Precision Extra, and the strips are less than half the price of the Precision Extra strips. These are blood testing, not urine. And urine testing is perfectly fine. Okay. First time I see you on live. Hello. Hi, Hey, how are you? Tapio. Is there anything else before I sign off? Something I can't read. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on, and I'm doing this from I'm on the phone, but I'm looking on my computer. All right, I am going to sign off then. Thank you so much, guys, for allowing me to be included on your Saturday. Do check out my blog for information about upcoming events and swag. I've got grocery bags and shirts. I sell swag to help defray a little bit. I will not sell supplements, or I'm not going to do that. if I can't make ends meet doing what I'm doing, then I'll find something else to do. But I'm not doing that. I'll sell you a t-shirt or insulated grocery bag or a mug or a calendar. But you don't need any of those to be successful. You know what? You don't need to buy one thing to be successful at the ketogenic diet. Just the next time you put food in your mouth, leave off the carbs. No rice, no potatoes, no bread, no pasta, no sweet potatoes, no sweet vegetables, no beets. If it grows below the ground, you probably don't need to be eating it because it's starchy. Keep it simple, y'all. Honestly, it truly is. For all the high-level science and research that was quoted, the message continues to be simple. So, take it easy. Thank you to patrons who are here. I'm going to be working on getting the mugs up and out to you, and for those of you who will be entitled to a discount, you'll get it. And I hope to see some of you in Greensboro on Monday the 13th, 5:30, until they kick me out. I always bring a book because I'm not sure anyone will ever show up. 5:30 to whenever. Wine Styles at Friendly Center. You don't have to buy wine. You don't have to do anything. And no one's going to judge you. It really is for information and support. Hope to see you there. TTFN.